biggest takeaways from Saturday? I guess, obviously an inauspicious start, but they came back in a pretty good way. Kind of, what were your biggest takeaways from the exhibition?
Yeah, you know what? It was solid. We tried to work on, through our limited time through September, try to work on some things with our group, with new guys coming in. But, I thought our structure was okay in some areas, and some areas we had to clean up. But I liked the pace of our play. I liked our tenacity, getting after pucks. Playing assertive and starting right out in the first period that way. And, it was one of those things where I think we had a lot of opportunities early on. We didn't capitalize on them. And they come down on their first shot and score, but our guys stayed with it. And I thought, especially in the second period, first shift in the second period, we made it count. And that carried over the momentum, I guess, through the second period.
How have you seen the guys gelling so far? Because, still early in the year, but a lot of these guys are too old. And how have you seen the group come together so far?
Yeah, I think trying to put those line combinations together and deep pairings, right? And I think it was a little bit of adversity we had to go through just because we had some illness going through our group the week before, the Monday before our exhibition game. So trying to piece together what practice looked like, trying to put together lines as guys came back and to see. And now we got, I think most of our guys are back right now, and there are some options going forward. But I think right now is just getting continuity down, getting the reps in practice, and then hopefully we can try to replicate that in the game on Friday. But I think the common thread is making sure that we play with pace and energy and tenacity that we brought on Friday or Saturday night against Manitoba.
Have you seen any change in the guys' intensity and preparation ahead of the regular season starting up now?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we just got off practice today, and I thought our compete was ultra high. And there's two things that go into it. First thing is we're playing for real now. You know what I mean? As far as the games counting, the non-conference games that we're going to go through are the body of work for the national tournament. As far as getting in the national tournament, so that's a big part. The other part is guys coming back in the lineup. Trying to establish a role on this team as far as being a player in an everyday role in the lineup. And again, like I told you guys before, I think the winning teams are teams that have success, are teams that have depth, and we have that. And again, it's going to be, hey, you know what? If you're in the lineup, you got to bring it, and if you're not in the lineup, you got to wait for your opportunity and then bring it when you do get in.
You had mentioned it coming in. Holy Cross beat BC last week.
Yeah.
How important is it? Can't overlook anyone. This isn't an easy win.
Well, 100%. Again, like everybody goes back to 06, and a lot of these guys were infants at the time when that happened. But at the end of the day, we're current. We stay current. And what happened last week? What happened, in the last 2 or 3 weeks of a team before you play them? And, I went over the video. They were a team that wanted it. They got out of the chute right away. They went after Boston College in all regards, and they just wanted it more. And again, that's the situation where it doesn't matter who you're playing against, that we know whether it's Holy Cross, whether it's a non-conference team, or whether it's one of the other 7 teams in the NCHC, when people come in, or teams come into the Ralph, they come to play, and they come to win. And again, we always have to try to match or exceed that level each and every weekend when teams come in here and try to establish that. And I think we've done a pretty good job over the last couple of years, and we got to continue to do that.
Some of the guys had mentioned improving staying out of the box for this.
Yeah.
What else did you notice on the film that you want to change?
Yeah, I think, again, there's a balance of playing hard and then playing with discipline. And I think you can do both. You can play hard and you can play with discipline. And I thought our discipline in the third period got away from us a little bit. And again, we're going to have to sharpen that. And I went through a video session on Monday morning in review, and that was one of the things we went over, every single penalty of what's a good penalty and what's not a good penalty, and trying to decipher that side of it. So that's one area that obviously we want to do. And then, the other part for me is especially teams are going to come as far as building and growing that. But the 5-on-5 play in their end of the rink or our end of the rink, as far as play with the puck and play without the puck, there's certain areas that we want to try to work on. Yeah, for sure.
We saw Drew obviously in net. We saw Caleb this weekend. Jacob's getting better. Just how nice is it, I guess, to have so many options in net?
Yeah, well, especially early in the season. I've saw a lot around the country here where, teams have 2 or 3 very good goaltenders and they platoon them for the first weekend here. Right now, obviously, that could be an option for us because all those guys deserve time to play, and it's a situation where this weekend especially we'd like to try to get a bigger body of work on some players and try to see where we're at. So again, it's a situation where they've had good weeks of practice, and we'll put a lineup together for Friday, but Friday is the night we're concerned about. We'll deal with Saturday when Saturday comes.
And I know that this isn't new for you, but having a big group of leaders in terms of one captain, 4 or 5 alternate type thing, why is it important, I guess, to have so many guys wearing letters and how they've been stepping up in their role?
Well, I think though, like again, I go back to the number of years I've been the head coach here. That we've had multiple guys that were assistant captains, and I think it's good because you can never have enough good leaders. You know, when you identify leaders, as we do, or especially our players in the locker room identify them in the voting part of it, you can never have enough good leaders as far as, you know, being an extension of the coaching staff and pushing that message in the locker room when we're not in there. And we have unbelievable leaders this year that went through a lot, through great times over the last few years, and so not so great times. And it's really important when those young guys come in or those transfers come in to try to integrate that message early on of what our culture is all about and what to expect coming down the line. And, you know, if you have to rely on one or two guys as leaders, I don't know if the message gets around, but if you have 4 or 5 guys, I know the message really gets around that locker room.
Not sure if you saw box scores from over the weekend, but there were 3 teams that were penalized for not getting off the ice in time after warm-ups. Is that something you would have adjusted or plan to adjust?
Believe you me, we did. You know, it was plain and clear when we went down to the NC, and I don't know how that happens. You know, because we were notified at the NCHC head coaches meeting at Media Day that it was going to be called, and it's going to be letter of the law as far as going forward. So what we did is, you know, before the morning skate on Saturday, we grabbed our guys, had a quick meeting with them, went over the 5 different points of what that looked like about not being on the ice before the game, about the 23-minute mark you got to be off, and all those different points, even leaving the benches after the period, like just going directly off. So again, I think it goes to the message that was sent or probably wasn't sent to the team, and that's what happened. And again, I think at the end of the day, if you know that's going to be a standard, a high standard, that it's going to be called, then obviously you gotta know, because that's tough going down. It was 4-on-4, I think. They each got a guy on the ice. Yeah. But going down a man early without even stepping on the ice, that's tough. And at the end of the day, obviously, if they're going to call it, we have to abide by it.
And just line-up decisions there must be tough this week. You guys have a lot of guys back. So.
Yeah, you know what? And again, you know, on Monday we got some guys back. Yesterday we got some guys back, and then obviously everybody was that's available. There's still a couple guys out. Drew. Monty's out, and Luke Bast is out for the weekend here. They've got some nagging little injuries here or whatever, but the rest of the guys are available for the weekend. And again, like I said, I think we're going to put together a lineup on Friday, and the guys that aren't in, you know, they got to be prepared because their name maybe or probably get called on Saturday for sure.
How do you balance kind of experimenting with the lines while also, you know, trying to win your first games of the regular season?
It's a great question. Yeah, so what we try to do is we try to put tandems together, right? Like we try to, you know, on a line of 3, we try to get some consistency in practice with at least 2 guys that have played together for a while. So, for instance, you know, Jake Schmaltz and Reese Gaber, you know, they're a tandem, and then, you know, you can go to Jammernick and Senden, they're a tandem, and you just try to kind of bounce a guy in and here or there to see what the chemistry is, and you know, you try to get somebody that can bring something to the table on that line. Like, you know, when you got a guy like Juddy Caulfield, you know that's a guy that's going to pressure pucks, get pucks back for you. Make room for the other guys on the ice. So, you know, it's a situation right now where, you know, we're kind of honing in right now what we think is going to work. But at the end of the day, you know, at the beginning of a season, you know, you like to try to experiment a little bit, but still have a little bit of continuity and chemistry.
All right.
Good? All right, thanks.